All right. Okay, I think we're live. Hey guys. Let me get my Windows set up here real quick. Okay. So, welcome back to another weekly rundown of the mods, where we're going to be running through what was updated and what new mods were released this week for MW5 Mercenaries. This is all post DLC 7, so we're looking at all mods that hopefully are compatible with DLC 7. They should be at this point. So, if they're not, I apologize. I haven't tried every single mod in here, but we'll cover all the important ones at least. And talk about some of the changes that have happened this week, some of the things you should be aware of. This is kind of a new... Oh, hold on one second. I wanted to open... Let me just do it over here. This is kind of a new video series for me, or live stream series. So I'm kind of getting the format set up, or figured out how I really want to do it. So last time we went through a few, and that's what I wanted to pull up here if I can... Sorry, I'm trying to work in a very small window off to the side of my screen, which I am not at all used to. Let me go here. I wanted to see what were my chapters that I did last time, or did I even... I didn't really set them up. Okay, I was wondering if I went back and did that or not, and I guess I didn't. So I may go in and add chapters at some point to kind of clarify what's covered where. But anyways, some good stuff. I think what I did last time is we'll kind of run through the important stuff. What you guys, I want to get that out of the way quick. If you don't want to watch the entire live stream, at least I'll tell you what the important updates are this week that at least important to me. And if you're using a similar mod loadout to me, then probably important to you as well. And then I'll talk about some of the newer mods that I'm looking at trying. Actually, I think after that, we'll just go through all the mods. We'll look at everything that's out there new this week, and then I'll talk about new mods that I'm looking at trying out that I haven't gotten around to trying out yet, but things that look really interesting and I would highly recommend checking out if you also find them interesting. At the very end, I'll show you my current mod loadout, what I'm currently going to be using. I'm not recording a new series yet, but the new series when I do start, I'm still waiting for spoiler alert, no revamped weapons mod or quirks mod updates yet. So I'm hoping those come out. I don't know. There was a new update to the game. Oh yeah, this is one big piece of news. New update to the game this week. I believe it dropped on Wednesday. Patch update, whatever you want to call it. It broke a lot of things with the mods. There were some issues. We weren't able to do our co-op live stream this week either because on Thursday, we didn't even get to the point where we could test out to see if mods were broken or not because the co-op servers, I guess, were down. We couldn't get a connection. We were trying to connect to Nightshade, our host, and nobody could get a connection. We tried for probably a good half hour or so, and no luck. So we've only had that happen once before. It resolved itself like the next day, I think. So best I can tell, it was an issue server side. So unfortunately it happened on Thursday, which was the day after the update dropped. Whether or not that had anything to do with it, I have no idea. But yeah, we didn't get our co-op stream in this week, which makes it a few weeks in a row now. We still have to finish the campaign, the new DLC 7 campaign. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this. And as always, if you have any questions... Oh, that's what I need to do, select my stream over here so I can see the info on it. If you have any questions about any of the mods, or if you have any info about any of these mods that I don't mention, I by no means know everything about all these mods. A lot of them I haven't even used or read anything on. So if you have information that I don't, or I get something wrong, please say something in the chat. I would really appreciate it. Okay, why did it just go offline again on here? No, I want to see my stream. Okay, let me try loading this again. Sorry, guys. 1 second. It's not showing. Okay, there we go. Now it's showing it again. Weird. Okay, so let's talk about the important stuff you guys need to know right off the bat this week. We had an update to yet another mech lab. This is the big one. Almost everybody's using YAML these days. There was an update. What was... it wasn't really anything big. There was... Oh, that's right. Let me just go to files because I think it gives yeah, fixed loadouts randomly getting altered without notice. Apparently that was a bug. That is now fixed. And then fixed vision modes. I'm not sure exactly what with the vision modes, but something with the vision modes was fixed. I'm sure if you really want to know, you can come in here, look at change logs, and somewhere in here it will say, I don't see it right off the bat, but I'm just scanning through real quick. So feel free to read through there or figure out what it was if you're really that interested. But the main thing here is you need to update ammo. Aside from that, you also have yet another weapon and yet another weapon clan updates. These are both basically the only versions that we can use right now with the ammo because the revamped versions are not updated yet. So this is what we're currently using. If you're like me and you really like using the revamped ones, let's hope that those updates come out soon. But in the meantime, we can use these. So you got yet another weapon. Just changed a few things. The big thing to know here about the changes in this is the Ultra AC ammo. Here it is, Ultra AC ammo. So now it's one piece of ammo per burst rather than one piece of ammo per projectile, which would be, you know, 3 or 4 or however many it was per burst. So that makes things a lot simpler now when you're trying to calculate ammo. It's just one ammo use per burst. There's a few other things in here to go through, as well as the previous version that you can look at. But that's the big change that I can remember reading about. Kind of the same thing. Ultra ACs now use one ammo per burst with the clan version. So both of those are updated. Get the updates downloaded. Pilot overhaul. I know everybody really likes this mod. Haven't really had a chance yet to play around with it since the DLC, but I know that it does change a few things. If you really want to know, you can read through it here, test it out. Basically, at this point, he released a version right after the DLC that was functional. Okay. Now we are getting to the point where a lot of these mods are starting to actually, and it was really the same thing with, I didn't mention that, but with yet another weapon clan, they were initially updated just to be functional with the DLC. Now they're actually going in, and the mod creators, and the people that work with them are actually fixing these mods to update them to DLC standards, I guess is the right way to say that. So you'll see that they're actually making some changes to weapons at this point, whereas the initial update after the DLC was just to get it working. So same thing with pilot overhaul. We're getting some more fixes in there, of course. Integration of the new trait gain system. So this is cool. This is going to allow you to, now you can switch out traits on your, I think it says it back here in the, I'll let you guys read this if you want, you can pause and read. But basically now you're going to be able to remove traits from your pilot. So if you get a trait that you don't want, you can do a certain training program. What was it called? I think he says somewhere in here. It may have been in the previous update. Okay, maybe I scanned right over. I don't see it. But anyways, there's a certain training. Oh, maybe it wasn't in this one. I think I'm thinking of the enhanced academies. That may have been it. That's a mod we're going to talk about in just a minute. I'm getting the two confused here, so I apologize. But this one, you can see what changes are made here. Basically, it just fixed a few bugs and things this particular update did. But I know most people are using this, so you definitely want to get the update downloaded there. That's another important one that was released this week. Oh, my mouse just died. I need to plug that in. Okay. Next, here's a big update this week. Yet another equipment collection. So previously, there has been 3 that I know of, 3 different versions of yet another equipment collection. There was the original version that I believe was no longer being updated for a little while. There was yet another equipment collection Eternal, which came out as kind of a replacement, an updated replacement for this original yet another equipment collection. And then there was also yet another equipment collection Revived, which was made by the same creator of Yagdom, and she basically made her own version of the equipment collection mod to go really hand in hand with Yagdom, although I believe it runs perfectly fine if you're not using Yagdom. So at this point, the update this week is basically that the yet another equipment collection Eternal is being deprecated to where it's no longer going to be updated and it will be obsolete, because yet another equipment collection, the original one, is now being updated again. So if you were using the Eternal version, get rid of that, go back to the original Yet Another Equipment collection that we have right here, and it should now work just fine, and it will continue to be updated with as other mods are updated and whatever. So this is the version you want to be using, unless you're using the version Yet Another Equipment collection revived. And that's the version that I am still using, because I do like using the Yagdom mod alongside. So that's where we're at with that. Now we're down to just 2 Yet Another Equipment collection mods again, instead of 3. So that makes things slightly more simple for people. So yeah, definitely pick that up. If you were using the Eternal version, you want to drop that and pick up the original Yet Another Equipment collection. Had a new update this week. So that was the big news with that. Now let's talk about one other piece of news. I wanted to mention something that I talked about last week, the Advanced Career Starts mod. So this is something, let me bring this here. So we'll look at it here, because I actually had it open. So this is pretty cool. I mentioned this last week. I hadn't really looked at it yet, but I saw that it was a new mod that had come out, and I was kind of interested in it. So I looked into it, got a comment actually from the mod creator. So thank you a lot for that. AT Strategist, I think was your name on YouTube, but yeah, AT Strategist, here it is right here. So thank you so much for watching the video and filling me in on your mod. So this is actually not a standalone mod. This is a mod made to work in conjunction with the Advanced Career Start mod. So you gotta have both, I believe. I'm pretty sure this doesn't run by itself. I didn't actually check, but from my understanding, it's just an add-on to that mod. So you want to have the Advanced Career Start mod, and then you can download this and install this mod alongside of it, and this will give you additional career starts that you can use. So you can see here, and here's the question I have. If you're watching again this week, AT Strategist, I would like to know, because I'm not 100% clear, what's the difference between these two? So you currently have 13 starts to Advanced Career Starts UI, 4 Clan Invader starts, and then all these other ones, including Pirates. I know some certain individuals who would be very happy about that. But yeah, some pretty cool stuff. And then you have 12 new vanilla style starts. So what I'm wondering then, actually, and this just occurred to me, maybe this does work as a standalone mod as well, and this is what you get. I don't know. I don't quite understand what it means, the vanilla style starts. Is that yeah, I don't know. Let me know, or if any of you guys know. But this looks really cool. I like the idea of starting with one of the, so you have Clan Wolf, Jade Falcon, Ghost Bear, and Smoke Jaguar starts. In the vanilla style starts, you also get Diamond Shark. That's the one extra one that you get there. But anyways, then you got Magistracy. I can never pronounce this. Magistracy of Canopus, I guess. Marian Hegemony, St. Ives Compact, Tortuga Dominion, Pirates, Lothian League, Outworld Alliance, Wolf's Dragoons, and Greater Valkyrie are all possible career starts. So I'm actually looking at using this for my next playthrough when we start the next season here, hopefully very soon. I think it would be really cool to start out as a Clan Invader, or maybe possibly Pirates, because the Pirates were really the very first ones to face the Clanners. That could also be interesting. We would kind of have to skip the whole campaign, because it wouldn't really make sense if you're playing as a pirate. But we could skip the campaign and just start from the beginning of the invasion and play against Clanners, playing as pirates. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. But I'm kind of leaning towards starting as a Clan Invader. It seems kind of cool to me, but then it would be difficult if you're only facing against Inner Sphere enemies. You're never going to get more clan salvage, right? So I don't know. Well, although Clanners do fight against other clans at times, so there's a possibility there. Anyway, something I think of, but this mod looks really cool. So definitely, guys, if you're interested in any of those options that I was just talking about, I would check it out. I think they do give you a clan mechs to start with, a nice selection there. Yeah, I think this looks cool. I'm glad somebody made some clan career starts, because that's something that I really want to do, and I've kind of been just doing on my own without any official way of signifying it. So that's cool to have that. The other mod, and I kind of mentioned this before when I was talking about the what is that, pilot overhaul mod. So this is something I touched on last week. I hadn't really looked into it yet, but I mentioned it was a mod that I was really interested in looking into. Still haven't tested it out, but I did a little bit of reading up on it, looking at it and what it actually does. This sounds pretty cool. Enhanced Academies is the mod, and there's a few different mods that have come out now that alter the academies or kind of give you different options with the academies. This one sounds pretty good to me so far. So I think I'm going to try this out. And this is what I was talking about. I got confused. I thought this was on the pilot overhaul mod. It's a separate mod, but this one will add, and I don't know if this will actually work in conjunction with pilot overhaul now that I think about it. I'll have to look into that. Hopefully it does. Let me see real quick if I can find somewhere where maybe it says, because I don't see anywhere where it says that it doesn't work with certain mods, but they do affect similar things. Make sure you're running the latest version, disable other mods and see if it works and test them for verified game files. What was the date today? Today's 12th. Okay. I see that this mod doesn't work nice with pilot overhaul. Any chance you could patch? This has already been reported, and the modder behind pilot overhaul Eternal is going to integrate this mod into his for an upcoming update. Apparently, Bobbert Moddart, who created pilot overhaul Eternal, right? Oh, this is no. Bobbert Moddart is the one who created this mod that we're looking at right here. Somebody else is commenting this. I guess they got inside info. Was a bro and sent over the source code for his mod to the other mod creator in order to make this possible. Shout out to Bobbert. So that is really awesome. Big shout out to Bobbert Moddart, because I was going to be really disappointed if this did not work with Pilot Overhaul Eternal, but it is going to be made compatible with Pilot Overhaul Eternal. Awesome. Okay. That's really good news, and I forgot to look into that before. So that's cool. What I like about this mod and what I was mentioning before, it gives you this thing called correctional program in the academy, which basically allows you to remove traits that you don't want from your pilots. There's also some other stuff that adds here, but that's the main thing that I was really looking forward to there. You can also use mod options to control length of programs, tuition, enrollment costs, all that kind of stuff. Really cool though to be able to remove traits. That's something that we've always kind of wanted in our co-op group, because we each have a specific pilot and we want to be able to mold that pilot to our specific play style rather than spend, you know, forever searching for the perfect pilot for our play style. We just want to take a blank slate and turn it into what we want. But you usually get pilots that already have traits on them, so then you have to try and pick one that's kind of going the direction you want, right? Well, with this, we will now be able to remove the traits we don't want from a pilot and just build them up from nothing exactly the way we want. I think that's really cool. I'm looking forward to using this. I think that's going to be really handy. So I will wait for this to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically be for pilot overhaul to be updated for this to work alongside it, or be integrated into it. Is what he said, actually. So they may combine the two mods into one. I'm not sure. Anyways, yeah, that looks cool. So I like that. So I wanted to give that a shout out this week and mention that. Now at this point, we're going to go ahead and go through all the mods that have come out this week, either as updates or new releases. And I'll just talk about them real quick as we run through them. So again, just like last week, we're looking at the last 7 days. They're in order of last updated, but they are in ascending order. So we're looking at 7 days ago first, and then we'll go all the way up to the updates for today. So and we're just looking at all categories here right off the bat. Oh, hey, last December. Sorry, I don't have my chat down here on the side of the screen where I usually do. What is up with Thursday live stream? Yeah, I kind of answered that already. I don't know, dude. It's every week something new. 1 week, one of us, who shall remain unnamed, not me, fell asleep, so we didn't play that week. Then the next week, what was it? There was something else. I think we were having issues with the game where it was crashing or whatever and couldn't figure it out. This week it seemed to be server issues because we couldn't get a connection to the host, which we have seen once before, and it fixed itself like the next day. So I'm pretty sure that's a server side issue, because we didn't do anything to fix it last time it happened. But anyways, I'm really hoping we get to play this week because we need to finish that campaign and then we're going to start a new career, which we're looking forward to. So anyways, let's jump into this, guys, and get through this real quick, and then we'll talk about kind of the mods that I would be using right now. Simple trails. Talked about this last week. It got another update. This just changes the missile trails for your missiles. Extra traits add-on. So this is again messing with the academy stuff, I believe. Generic weapon types and chassis type, affinity, expertise, and mastery. Yeah. So it's just, this is another one of those mods changing things with the academy system. Check it out if you're interested in that. Although the one that I would use, like I said, was the enhanced academies probably, and I doubt that that works nicely with that one right now. Yet another special variant. I know a lot of guys use this. I've been using this in the past. It's a nice mod, adds a lot of new variants. Some of them are really powerful variants, using the YAML and yet another weapon mods, right? And all the stuff that comes with that. So if you want to add more variants to your game, there you go. I'm not currently using it because I am using lore-based variants mod, and I just didn't want to overload the game with too many different variants, essentially. So there's that one. I have run it before alongside lore-based and seemed to work fine, though, for the most part. Or as far as I could tell, I should say. Weapon expert trait fix. Another mod that deals with pilot traits. I touched on this one last week as well, so I'm not going to discuss it too much at this point. But it was updated again this week, so if you're looking for an update to that, there you go. Smoky missile trails, another mod that deals with missile trails. I don't know, people seem to be bothered by the missile trails lately. I don't even notice them. That's not what I'm paying attention to in the game. I'm not looking that closely at missile trails. But anyways, balance PPCX. This is a mod that balances the PPCX, as it is quite powerful in vanilla. This is basically made for vanilla style play. I don't think it's based on YAML in any way, because YAML does make its own balance changes to that weapon. But if you want that and you're not playing with the YAML, there you go. Even more advanced career starts. I already talked about that, so I'm not going to talk too much about it again. But I will most likely be looking at using that when I start my new playthrough. Female protagonist with voiceover. Protagonist? I always say protagonist, but I think it's actually protagonist. It is. Protagonist with voiceover. If you want to be a female, there you go. No judgment. Lance status revamped. This is, I talked about this last time. We got another update to it. This is a mod that just adds your Lance status. I use Von Seiten's Von HUD mod. So it does basically the same thing, although in a little more detail, because you can see the weapons of your Lance mates as well. So I use that one, but if you're not using that and you would like to have lance mate status, there you go. It just adds paper dolls for all your lance mates in your HUD. Zatara's equipment adds a bunch of like custom quirks, equipment, weapons. This used to be part of the Zatara mod if you used that, but then he split his mod up into separate mods where the mechs, the equipment, and the super heavies are all in separate mods. Adjustable battle value. We got, oh, this is another one that I highly recommend. I didn't mention it with the other mods that were important updates. But adjustable battle value, this is a really nice mod that I've used in the past for balancing the mechs that you're facing in missions. You'll get greater variety of mechs. So rather than just facing the same light and medium mechs all the time, like I was having issues with. So I really like this mod. If you're using a lot of mods that add mechs to the game and whatnot, this is a very important mod to have. I would highly recommend it from my experience pre-DLC 7. I haven't used it with DLC 7, but using it before DLC 7, this was a very, very nice mod to have running. And it fixed a lot of the spawn issues that I was having, where I was just seeing the same mechs over and over. Mech Warrior 2 Betty Voice Ultimate. We saw this one last week. It got another update. So there you go. Yet another legendary mech. I think most people are using this mod at this point. Really nice mod, adds legendary hero mechs to the game. A lot of them come from Mech Warrior Online. Every time they come out with a new legendary mech in Mech Warrior Online, we get it in Mech Warrior Mercs through this mod. So this is a must-have mod for me because I like having all those hero mechs. So yeah, got an update for that this week, and I think it was just bug fixes. I don't think there was anything major, if I remember right. Yeah, okay. So yeah, nothing major. Probably won't even notice any changes. So there you go. Pilot promotion allows a player to promote pilots once you reach max level. So you can promote them to the next rank and continue. I mean max level for their level, right? Where their cap sits. You can increase their level cap up to the maximum. Mech delivery. We talked about this last week. It got another update. A lot of these updates came about because of the game update that dropped this week. A lot of them just needed little patches to fix things that broke from that game update, I believe. But anyways, mech delivery, you can use this mod to select and buy any mech, or not even buy, but just get any mech that you want that's in the game. Gives you a nice interface for that. Again, a mod by Bobbert, one of our favorite mod creators. Lore-based mech variants, we talked about that before. I use the YAML version. Oh, we were talking about the special variant one. So this is lore-based mech variants if you're not using YAML. This is the non-YAML edition, but it did get an update this week. We got a couple of the classic mech collections, right? No, these are different ones. Wasp and Stinger, YAML compatible, and the Wyvern, YAML compatible. These just add these light, I think they're all 3 light mechs, right? The Wyvern might be a medium. I can't remember for sure. I never really used them. So anyways, if you want those mechs, there you go. They're pretty nice mods, decent models, and they work well. So if you want them, I would recommend those. Co-op unlocked. If you're doing co-ops like I do, this is a really nice mod to have. I'm glad it got updated. I don't think we're going to be using it right away in our co-op stream, but when we start our new career for the co-op stream, we'll probably be using this at that point. We'll start using it. We're trying not to add in mods while we're in the middle of our campaign because we don't want to break anything. Yet another equipment collection. I talked about this before. This is the original mod. It is now being updated again and has replaced the yet another equipment collection Eternal mod. That one is no longer being updated, so get rid of that and use this one instead again now, the original. You don't need to replace Revived, I don't believe. I haven't heard anything regarding yet another equipment collection Revived. So we still have the 2 different versions, the original and the Revived version, but the Eternal version is no longer being used. So wanted to make that clear. It's a little confusing that we have 3 different versions for that mod, but now we're down to just 2 again, so it's a little bit better. Arena control, I think I talked about this before. It gives you additional control over your arena matches. I don't play in the arena a whole lot, so it's not really something I'm interested in, but if you want to, check that out. Enhanced Academies, I talked about this before. Really nice mod. The main selling point of this is that you can remove traits from pilots. So check that out. I will be checking it out, and I will definitely let you know how it goes once I start using it. Most needed gameplay changes. This just kind of makes the game easier, I believe. Yeah, it makes some changes there. Read through them, see if it's anything you want. If it is, check it out. We got an update for that this week, so if you're already using it, make sure you update it. Updated skip jump ship animation. I believe with the DLC 7, we no longer have... I haven't really played that much since DLC 7 dropped because we've been having issues with co-op, and I haven't started my single-player career yet since I'm waiting for a couple more mods to update. But I believe the jump ship animation is back in the game. YAML had to disable the skip jump ship animation option. For whatever reason, it wasn't working anymore, I guess. But now, because there was no skip jump ship animation mod that was working anymore, somebody decided to go ahead and make an updated version for DLC 7. So there you go. Mech model fixes, Executioner. We talked about this last time. It got another update. Battle Grid reordered. I talked about this last time, but it got another update. I don't know. I don't use it, so I don't really know too much about it. I'm happy with the Battle Grid as it is in Von HUD, so I just stick with that. Lore-based mech variants, the YAML edition. So this is the YAML edition, adds 186 mechs and mech variants to the game. We got an update this week, and I don't know that anything major happened. I think mostly just bug fixes. Yeah, fixed issues with the Bull Shark. Pilot overhaul Eternal. I talked about that a little bit already. We got an update for that this week, so definitely get that updated. I believe, did I mention what he was working on? Yeah, I did. We kind of looked at that before. So looking forward to more updates from that and seeing what he can really do with it, as well as the update that is going to integrate the Enhanced Academies mod. so that those will function together or just become one mod. I'm not 100% sure one way or the other. Last December says, I figured it was the mods breaking. Yeah, that probably would have stopped us too if we had even been able to connect. I have a feeling that the mods breaking was gonna put our co-op stream on pause anyways, but we didn't even get that far, so it didn't matter. Better lighting in mech hangar and operations adds additional lighting in the Leopard. So there you go. If you don't like the dark setting, Argus. This is a classic Argus mech from. I'm not really sure how to say this. Bauk Obelisk. I know Obelisk, but Bauk or Book. I don't know. Anyways, really cool mods from him. If you like the classic stuff or the immersion stuff, we're gonna see some more mods in just a minute on the next page from him, I think. Oh no, they're right down here. So I'll talk about those more in just a second. Unofficial MechWarrior 5 patch just fixes a few bugs and things. I don't use it because it's nothing that really bothers me or that's noticeable to me. So try to reduce the number of mods I use. But if you want those fixes, go ahead and get them there. Spanish MechWarrior, self-explanatory. Leopard colors adds additional colors to your dropship, the Leopard. Actually kind of cool. I'm considering trying this just to see what color options there are, really. And it would really just make your Leopard stand out more from the enemy faction Leopards on the battlefield. Not a big problem, but every once in a while, you know, you might get confused. I don't know. Kind of cool though to have those options where you can adjust that. Excuse me. Yet another weapon and weapon clan. Both of these got updated this week. I already mentioned them before when we were talking about the important updates this week, so I'm not gonna go over those anymore, but there you go. Pick up those updates for sure. Immersive loot crate smoke. If you want to have smoke instead of just that big beam of light, there you go. Extended negotiations allows negotiating into negatives. In other words, gain points or up to twice above the normal limits, but for twice lower values per point. I'm guessing you can use mod options there or something. If you want to mess around with your negotiation points there, that's probably a decent way to do it. Classic mech collection I've talked about before, by our buddy Bauk Obelisk. He puts all of these classic mech mods all into one mod, so you got a whole bunch of them in there. If you want them all, go ahead and use that. He also added a couple new mods this week. So we got immersive overheat and power up warnings. Instead of getting the big flashing thing on your screen that says overheat, shutdown, whatever, now with this mod, you will instead have like flashing red lights in the cockpit and the cockpit just shuts down or whatever, right? Replace it with flashing cockpit red light. So yeah, that's basically it. And then you just see the mech shut down, whatever, but it's supposed to be more immersive, right? More realistic, I guess, whatever. He also came out with this mod, remove green pickup zone ring, which is, again, another immersion thing because it's more realistic if you're not seeing things like that on the battlefield, I guess. Although technically your HUD would display all these things, so it's realistic either way, I guess. But anyways, if you don't like seeing that green ring, there you go. Now for the final page here, he also, the same mod creator, Bauk Obelisk, proper rear paper doll. This does kind of bug me a little bit. I may end up using this or I may not. I've kind of gotten used to it at this point, although originally back in the day I really liked not seeing the front of the mech on the rear side. Or I mean seeing the arms and legs on the rear side, on the rear view. Anyways, if that bothers you, this is probably a great mod for that. I haven't tested it out. But the screenshots make it look like it does exactly what it says. So there you go. Mech Shaker. If you're using bass effects for vibration, you know, so you can feel all the action going on in the battlefield, this is a mod you may be interested in. I'm not using that, so it's not something I have checked out at all. Under tonnage bonus 2 and purchase salvage 2. So this combines a couple things into one. I've used purchase salvage before, a mod called purchase salvage. I don't know if it was by the same creator or what. But this basically takes that where you can purchase your salvage if you don't have enough points for it, and also adds under tonnage bonus. So if you're going into missions under tonnage, you're getting extra bonus through that. Pretty cool mod. I'm considering using it because I like the idea of the under tonnage part. The purchase salvage, There are times where I really want to just, like, you get a piece of hero mech salvage, you want to just buy it and to be able to get it, because there's no way you could ever have enough salvage points or whatever. In those cases, it would be nice. However, in my opinion, it also makes the game a lot easier, which I try to avoid doing whenever I'm adding mods to the game. So I don't know about that. The under tonnage bonus also obviously makes the game easier if you're going in under tonnage and you're getting an extra bonus from that. But I feel like you should. If you're gonna get into a mission and you're 100 tons under the max tonnage, why wouldn't you get bonus for that? I don't know. Anyway, I guess there is the argument that as a merc, you can decide to take whatever you want there within the limit, which in that case, the limit makes no sense at all anyways. But yeah, you could, you know, it's up to you. If you want to go under tonnage, you're going under tonnage. The contract is for the same amount of pay regardless, right? That's the other side of that argument. Anyways, so I haven't decided yet if I really want to use that or not. But for those of you looking for something like that, I would check out this mod. It looks like it's a really good option for doing that sort of thing. Here we have the Zatara mod, adds a bunch of mechs to the game. If you're interested in that, check it out. Again, I mean, there's multiple mods that add a bunch of mech variants and new mechs to the games, right? This is just another one of them. Our buddy Must Chaos, cool guy, in the stream a lot, and I would say I would check out the mods, and I've been meaning to for a long time. I have actually looked into this one. It adds a lot of mechs that I'm honestly not that interested in. I like clan mechs. I focus a lot on the clan stuff lately. I will be checking that out at some point though, along with the super heavies, because I looked at that one. There's a lot of super heavies in that mod, so I need to find some time at some point to go through and actually check those out. And speaking of which, here it is right down here. That also got an update this week, alongside Zatara. So he's been busy. He has updates all the time. So that's nice to have there. Yet another advanced repair bay. This is where we were. So this is going to increase the functionality of repair bays in the game. This is updated for DLC 7. May 15th. Wow, that was actually a fairly recent mod. I didn't realize. Anyways, just this year. There was an older version that did basically the same thing from a couple of years ago, I believe. I was thinking it was the same, but it's not. So anyways, if you want to increase the usefulness of your repair bays, that is probably an excellent mod to check out. Again, it makes the game easier though, and so that's a reason why I probably won't be using it, unless you're trying to play on extremely hard difficulties and you don't mind having additional use out of your repair bays there. Low tonnage, high difficulty missions. This is kind of an interesting mod. I was looking at this one. So this introduces a chance to spawn low tonnage missions in high rep conflict zones. What makes these different from low tonnage missions and low... oh, I gotta go in here to actually read that, because it keeps going. What makes this different is that the enemy force will have slightly more or heavier units, and their mechs should have skilled pilots and high-tiered weapons. So kind of an interesting thing, adding lower tier, I get low tonnage missions into higher difficulty zones. Pretty good idea. I wonder how well that works in practice. Interesting. Let me know if you guys play with it, if you like having that in there or not. I guess it really depends on if you like using lighter mechs or heavier mechs. I tend to favor the heavier mechs. You know, I like heavies and assaults. But if you like playing in medium mechs, you'll probably really enjoy that mod. Adjustable HUD colors. Again, I use Von HUD, does the same thing. But if you're not using Von HUD, you can change your HUD colors with that. Pretty cool. Military emblem logo pack. This adds a bunch of military emblems. I think we mentioned this last week as well. Like I said, a lot of these were mods that we talked about last week. They just had additional updates this week because of the update to the game that dropped. Additional logos for your Merc company to put on your Leopard if you want them. Yet another mech lab we already talked about. This is a must-have in my opinion, so go get the update for this. Battletech 3015, even less weapons version. I didn't know what the original version really was because I never used it. But if that's something you're using and you're looking for even less weapons, there you go. So I think it basically gets rid of tiers of basic weapon variants without, yeah, it gets rid of the tiers. And the stats, weapon stats are basically tabletop or vanilla base. So there you go. Zatara Super Heavy Mechs adds a whole bunch of super heavies to your game. I'll show you real quick. Here you go. So I don't know how many that is, but there's a bunch of them in there. They go all the way up to 200 tons, it looks like, is the max. They are all based on standard mechs. They're just super heavy versions of the standard mechs. So it's not quite the same as like the super heavies that were added from Yagdom, or I think YAML put their own super heavies in the game as well, right? At some point recently. I haven't seen them yet or played with them, but I seem to remember something about that. So anyways, if you like playing with super heavies though, this would really add a whole new dimension to the game. Playing with like this, the Yagdom super heavies and YAML all together, you know, you're adding a whole nother 100 tons of playable mechs to the game. So that's pretty cool. I might actually try that sometime and do like an all super heavy kind of playthrough or something. That sounds kind of fun. I might have to try that. And then finally we have cockpit glass. This is an oldie. It's been around for 5 years now, almost 5 years now. I'm not sure what was updated with this, honestly. It probably just fixes for different things. This is a nice mod if you want the immersion field, the glass and whatever, and you're not using another mod that adds that, or if you're having problems with cockpit glass and other mods. In the past, I have found that this can possibly fix some of those issues, like the raindrops on the glass or whatever I was having issues with in the past. Yeah, you can see what it does here if you want to pause and look at all this stuff, but there's it's a good mod, solid mod, been around for a long time, so it's fairly well polished at this point. I like it. I would recommend it. I'm just not using it currently, but I actually was just today looking at possibly downloading this again, the latest version, and using it again, because it is a fairly well done mod. So that basically covers everything that was updated or added as far as mods this week. So at this point, I think what we're going to do is take a look at what I would currently be using for mods. Now, I've mentioned a lot of the mods in here that I haven't tried yet, but I'm really interested in. So those are not in this list. Once I have tried them, once I have tried them and I'm sure that I like them, and I actually add them into my standard mod loadout for my single player play, then I will add them into this list and you guys will see them here. So, but I don't want to put those into my actual mod list until I've tested them, into my mod list that I show you guys in the stream, until I've actually tested them out and decided that they're worth using. So, as you can see, not much different from last week. I think everything is the same here. I may have added one mod. What was it? The adjustable battle value. Did we have that last week? I don't remember. Yet another weapon clan. I don't think we had an update for that previously. Maybe I did. Never too much pilot overhaul. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't think there was really anything that we added this week. So you can see everything in the order here. We're just using default load order. And these are the mods. I'm not using better mission choices at the moment. That's why that's turned off. Or I won't be using it right off the bat. That is something that I like to use when I get to the end game, when you're just kind of, or, well, I guess not necessarily, because there is an argument to use that mod when you're kind of mid-game and you're more or less in between kind of two of the conflict zones. So you could have a conflict zone that goes from like, I'm just going to pull numbers out of the air here. You have a conflict zone that goes from like difficulty 5 up to difficulty 8, right? And then you have a conflict zone that goes from difficulty 9 up to difficulty 11, let's say. But you're trying to find missions that are right there in, let's say, that 7, 8, 9 range, which is kind of right on, you know, in between the two zones. So by using this better mission choices mod, you can adjust it so that lower level missions can appear in the higher level zones, or vice versa, whatever you want. You can adjust the options to kind of tweak it to where you will be able to find the missions that you want more easily if you're kind of in that in-between phase for the conflict zones. That's where I found it to be very useful. Obviously, if you want to do something crazy, like just make all conflict zones all max difficulty missions because you're just only doing endgame, you can also do that with this mod. So it's a pretty nice mod. I just haven't turned on yet, but once I'm getting into an actual career and we're getting to that point where we're getting into more difficult missions and I'm having a harder time finding the ones that I actually want to play, the level of difficulty that I actually want to play at with the mechs that I have at that time, I'll enable that mod and start using it again. So yeah, that's basically it. I don't know. Any questions or anything about the mods, what's being used? Anybody got any info, something I didn't mention? Please leave it in the comments. This stream will stay up as a video on my channel, just like all the others. And I will try to get answers and any new info that I get, just like I did from last week's live stream. I got some nice info from you guys in that on the comments. Let's do the same thing this week, and I'll mention it in next week's live stream. Any updates that I have for any of the mods here, anything that I got wrong, I'll give you guys the updated info next week. So that's going to do it. Hopefully I will see you guys on Thursday. We are planning on doing the co-op stream as long as everything is working. That requires the co-op servers to be working. That requires the mods to be working. So I think we're going to be okay, but we'll see. I think that every week, and it's now been, I think, 3 weeks. Or, well, I guess it's been 3 weeks of not playing, so it's been basically a month since we last played, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That sounds crazy, but I think that's right. So maybe it's only been 3 weeks, but anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you next time. Have a good one. Where did I put that? Oh. Nope. There it is, end stream. Okay, see you guys.